Quantum energy, Physicists Rant. It's all absolute bullshit. Hello everyone, and welcome to Black Dog Reader. Today, the topic we are diving into is the absolute peak of combining science and savage roasting. I'm sure you've all seen those miraculous ads online, claiming stuff like quantum crystals balance body energy, quantum wave detoxing, or manifest your dreams by vibrating at the same frequency as the universe.
Exactly. It seems like as long as you slap the word quantum on anything, it instantly becomes high-tech, and the price tag goes up tenfold. This is literally the ultimate weapon for modern-day con artists. As you know, our channel previously introduced several books on applying quantum mechanics and the law of attraction. And we received a ton of feedback from our audience. However, in the true scientific spirit of balanced reporting, today we are introducing an entirely opposite perspective. The author of this book is also a renowned physicist. But with the sharpest and most hilarious wit, he ruthlessly points out that all that spiritual packaging under the banner of science is, without exception, quantum bullshit. Today, we are incredibly honored to invite the expert avatar of this book, our guest speaker for today, to help everyone completely shatter these scams wrapped in scientific clothing. Welcome, Professor.
Hello hosts, and hello to the audience. Today, I'm not here to dish out chicken soup for the soul. I'm here to give your IQs a massive detox. To be honest, having studied quantum physics for over 50 years, every time I see people online selling fake goods under the guise of quantum, I just want to kick them in the shins. This book, Quantum Bullshit, How to Ruin Your Life with Physics perfectly voices what every actual physicist feels. The author, Chris Ferrie, ruthlessly points out that 99% of products on the market with quantum in their name are nothing but absolute garbage and scams.
Wow, the professor is coming out with all guns blazing. So how does the author define quantum energy? Do those healing crystals we always hear about actually have quantum energy?
Bullshit. What healing crystals? What energy detox? A crystal is just a bunch of neatly arranged silicon dioxide molecules. Its only energy is the kinetic energy generated when you throw it at a con artist's head. In real physics, quantum energy originated from a cheating-style mathematical assumption made by Max Planck in 1900. At the time, to explain the color of light emitted when objects are heated, Planck assumed that energy cannot change continuously like a stream of water, but must be like sand, discrete packets with a minimum unit. This smallest packet of energy is called a quantum. Subsequently, Einstein proposed the photon hypothesis, and Bohr proposed atomic energy level transitions, meaning that when an electron jumps between orbits, it must absorb or release a specific amount of discrete energy. This is actual quantum energy. It is a limitation, not some all-powerful, mystical spiritual force.
So, real quantum energy is actually just discrete packets of energy, rather than the infinite cosmic energy field claimed by New Age spiritual gurus?
Spot on. Con artists love to hijack these physics terms to package their fraudulent products. The book highlights one of the most egregious scams, the Quantum X-Roid Consciousness Interface, QXCI, invented by Bill Nelson. This machine claimed that by simply strapping bands to your body, it could detect and cure cancer using quantum energy. In the end, investigations revealed that this machine, which cost thousands of dollars, contained nothing but some cheap light-emitting diodes and resistors. It was essentially a toy. Even more ironically, the inventor was later indicted by the US government, fled directly to Hungary, and continued his swindling there under the drag persona Desire.
Oh my god, that is literally treating the desperation of consumers as an ATM. So what would happen if we actually try to get in touch with real quantum energy?
Well, that's where it gets interesting. Real quantum energy is high-frequency electromagnetic radiation, like X-rays and nuclear radiation. If you go chasing real, intense quantum energy, you won't get spiritual enlightenment, you will get cellular dissolution. In the 1920s, a health drink called Raditha was all the rage in the US, claiming that the energy of the radioactive element radium could restore youth. As a result, a millionaire drank it every day until his bones decayed, and his entire jaw literally fell off. So, real quantum energy has only one practical medical use: using precise radiation therapy to kill cancer cells. Hoping to get quantum energy from crystals and meditation? That only proves your IQ needs CPR. Wave-particle duality and matter waves. You don't have a cosmic vibration frequency, so stop flattering yourself.
After hearing the first chapter, I'm so glad I never bought any of that radioactive water. However, these con artists have another trick up their sleeve, which is claiming everything has a vibration frequency. As long as we change our conscious frequency, we can resonate our way into a happy life. Does this really have nothing to do with the wave nature of quantum mechanics?
This is another classic piece of quantum bullshit. Con artists absolutely love to hijack wave-particle duality to spout nonsense. Let's get the history of science straight first. In 1801, Thomas Young proved that light has wave interference properties with his double-slit experiment. In 1924, Louis de Broglie put forward an even crazier hypothesis. If light waves can behave like particles, then particles like electrons, protons, and even footballs should also have wave properties. This is what we call matter waves. De Broglie even gave a formula: wavelength equals Planck's constant divided by the object's momentum.
This wave property sounds pretty fascinating. If matter is also a wave, does that mean the human body is also a wave? Can't we resonate at the same frequency?
The most critical part of de Broglie's formula is the momentum, mass times velocity, in the denominator. And the value of Planck's constant is unimaginably small. It has 34 zeros after the decimal point. This means, because your mass is so massive, your de Broglie wavelength is down to a few hundred billionths of a nanometer, which has absolutely zero physical meaning in the macroscopic world. You want to resonate with the universe? As a body weighing dozens of kilograms, your vibration frequency is astronomically high, and your wavelength is so short it's negligible. The book roasts the fact that many spiritual books, like *The Crystal Bible* or *Quantum Love*, claim that gemstones have specific high vibrations that can resonate with your heart. In physics, this is pure, unadulterated nonsense.
So does the human body actually have any real resonant frequency at all?
Of course it does, but it has absolutely nothing to do with quantum. Acoustically, the mechanical resonant frequency of human internal organs is about 10 Hz. If the acoustic resonance is too intense, you'll feel nauseous, dizzy, or even suffer internal organ damage. Electromagnetically, the human body's resonant frequency in free space is around 70 megahertz, which is pretty close to your radio signal. Nowadays, many people have electromagnetic phobia or Wi-Fi poisoning, claiming that microwave frequencies from cell towers will destroy their quantum field. Addressing this fear, the author gives a hilarious example. In a confined space like an airplane cabin, it's actually your water-filled body that blocks and disrupts the Wi-Fi signal. The damage your body does to the signal is far greater than any damage the Wi-Fi does to you.
Haha, so when there's no Wi-Fi signal, I shouldn't blame the router, but rather the big guy sitting next to me for absorbing all the waves?
Exactly. That's 100% how it works. If someone tells you to browse products on Amazon with the words quantum and resonance, I suggest you delete their account immediately. Quantum wave technology only exists in electron microscopes and gravitational wave interferometers, scientific equipment miles long. Any everyday quantum product claiming to adjust your frequency is just collecting an intelligence tax. Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, the hilarious science of pelting a friend with baseballs in the dark.
Okay, since we can't change our frequency, surely the uncertainty principle can give us some hope? Many spiritual mentors say, because the quantum world is uncertain, our consciousness can step in, choose the reality we want, and create our own destiny. How do we roast this one?
This is literally treating physics like Harry Potter's Hogwarts. Heisenberg's uncertainty principle is a cornerstone of modern quantum mechanics, but it is absolutely not an excuse for manifestation. Let's head back to 1927. Heisenberg, suffering from a severe case of hay fever, escaped to a desolate, rocky island. There, he had his eureka moment and proposed this principle. You cannot simultaneously and precisely measure both the position and momentum, velocity, of a microscopic particle. The formula is written as, the standard deviation of position times the standard deviation of momentum must be greater than or equal to Planck's constant divided by 4 pi.
This sounds like a limit of human technology. If our measuring instruments were perfect, couldn't we break this limit?
No way. This is exactly the most common misunderstanding. It's not about the accuracy of the instrument. It is a fundamental property of the quantum nature itself. Heisenberg proposed a famous thought experiment called Heisenberg's microscope. To see where an electron is, you have to bounce a photon off it. But the photon carries energy. The moment it hits, it knocks the electron away, changing its velocity. In the book, the author uses a much funnier, more brutal analogy involving a host and a friend.
Oh. What's the analogy?
The author says, imagine you and a colleague you absolutely despise are locked in a pitch-black room. You want to find out where he is, but you can't move, and all you have is a pile of baseballs. What do? You have to throw baseballs blindly into the dark. Until you hear a painful scream. At that exact moment, you've pinpointed his location. But here's the catch, after getting nailed by a baseball, he's obviously going to run away in a rage. So, while you knew his position at that split second, you have no clue where he's going next. That is the everyday version of the uncertainty principle.
Haha, finding someone by throwing baseballs at them. I really wish I could play that game with my least favorite coworker.
And there's another reality regarding Heisenberg's principle. If we plug a 1.5-ton car traveling at 150 km per hour into Heisenberg's formula, the calculated uncertainty in its position is only about 30 octillionths of an inch. This is countless times smaller than an atom. It has absolutely zero impact on the macroscopic world.
But many sociologists and even doctors use this principle to explain relationships. Like the famous observer effect, where observing bank robbers changes their behavior. Isn't that quantum mechanics?
That's called the Hawthorne effect or psychological observer effect. It's because people behave differently when they know they are being watched. Just like when I participated in a university study back in the day. Knowing the researchers were watching, I pretended to thoroughly read Instagram's user agreement, which completely ruined their statistical data. It has absolutely nothing to do with the wave packet collapse of quantum physics. And those claiming they can predict the stock market using uncertainty, like quantum finance. Or using quantum theory for marriage counseling, like in *quantum love*, it's all cultural scamming exploiting the public's worship of authority. Schrödinger's damn cat, what on earth is quantum superposition?
Since we're on the topic of observers, we have to summon the most famous, most unlucky feline in the universe. Schrödinger's cat. This half-alive, half-dead cat is widely used today to describe all sorts of conflicted states. Like, my bank account is in a Schrödinger state of superposition between wealthy and broke. Professor, where did this cat actually come from in physics?
That damn zombie cat is driving physicists absolutely out of their minds. First, let me clarify. No actual cats were harmed in real life. Schrödinger was a huge animal lover. He proposed this thought experiment absolutely not to prove that a cat can be both alive and dead, but to show how absurd quantum superposition becomes when blown up to the macroscopic scale. He was roasting his colleagues, especially Bo and his crew.
So the cat was sarcasm? Then what exactly is quantum superposition?
In the microscopic world, before a radioactive atom is measured. According to quantum mechanics, it exists in a superposition of decayed and undecayed states. Schrödinger said, "All right then. Let's design a sealed box, put a cat in it, along with a poison gas vial. If the atom decays, the poison is released, and the cat dies. If the atom doesn't decay, the cat lives. Before the box is opened, since the atom is in a superposition. Does that mean the cat is also in a superposition of alive and dead? This is obviously absurd, because a cat is a macroscopic object. In the box, it is either alive or dead. It cannot be in some zombie half-alive, half-dead state." Schrödinger wanted to use this extreme example to show everyone, microscopic superposition cannot be scaled up to the macro world.
Then why was this concept accepted by Dirac and Bohr, becoming the standard interpretation of quantum mechanics?
Because the math works. Paul Dirac wrote the first textbook on quantum mechanics in 1930, formally introducing the concept of superposition. But the word Dirac chose was actually terrible. In English, superposition geologically refers to new soil piled on top of old soil, which makes people think it's two things layered together. A much better word would have been superimposition, like adding a semi-transparent filter to a photo, or multiple possibilities in a Monopoly game. When we have multiple wave solutions, adding parts of them together still yields a mathematically valid physical state.
So, quantum superposition is actually just multiple possibilities of a probability wave. Rather than saying macroscopic objects can exist in two opposite physical states at once?
Exactly. But that doesn't stop con artists from using their imagination. Hollywood socialite Gwyneth Paltrow's brand, Goop, once claimed in a show, "The double-slit experiment irrefutably proves that our subjective consciousness can alter physical reality. And our consciousness can superimpose multiple realities together." This is absolute, grade A nonsense. When you gather octillions of atoms to make a cat or a human being, due to countless microscopic collisions with the environment, the quantum superposition undergoes decoherence in a fraction of a nanosecond, completely collapsing back into the classical physical world. So, your bank account balance is never in a superposition. It is just flat out empty. Stop using quantum physics as an excuse. Faster than light quantum entanglement, the spooky action at a distance that gave Einstein a headache.
Haha, my wallet is indeed very classical. Next, let's talk about another sci-fi movie favorite, quantum entanglement. In many movies, and according to relationship gurus, quantum entanglement has become a synonym for true love, saying that as long as two people love each other, even if they are billions of light years apart, their particles will instantaneously sync up. Isn't this a miracle that even Einstein acknowledged?
Einstein did acknowledge the phenomenon, but he hated it so much he called it spooky action at a distance, and refused to accept it until his dying day. Let's reconstruct the actual physics scene first. When two microscopic particles interact, they enter an entangled state. This means if you send one particle to Toronto and the other to Sydney, the moment you measure the Toronto particles spin as a up, the Sydney particles spin instantly and 100% becomes down. This process happens instantaneously, exceeding the speed of light.
That sounds an awful lot like telepathy. Why did Einstein object to it?
Because it violates the core tenet of Einstein's special relativity: nothing in the universe can transmit information faster than light. This is known as locality. Einstein believed that when these two particles parted ways, their states were already predetermined internally. It's just like a pair of shoes: you put the left shoe in a box sent to Toronto, and the right shoe in a box to Sydney. The moment you open the Toronto box and see the left shoe, you instantly know Sydney has the right shoe. This requires absolutely zero FTL, instant telepathy.
That sounds extremely reasonable. So did Einstein win?
Unfortunately, Einstein lost this one. In 1964, John Bell proposed a famous mathematical theorem, Bell's inequality, and subsequent experimental physicists, like the three who won the 2022 Nobel Prize in Physics, conclusively proved quantum entanglement is non-local. This means that before measurement, the shoes hadn't decided which one was the left foot at all. The moment you measure, the states are randomly determined and instantaneously affect the other particle.
Wow. Doesn't that prove we can use quantum entanglement for faster-than-light communication? Or telepathy?
Absolutely not. This is the biggest piece of quantum bullshit. Although the state changes instantly, because the measurement result is completely random. You have zero control over whether Toronto measures up or down. If you want to use it to transmit meaningful information, you still have to use classical, sublight speed methods like calling or texting to tell the other person your measurement basis. This is the famous quantum no-signaling theorem. Quantum entanglement cannot achieve FTL communication, let alone help you sense your long-distance soulmate.
So is this principle completely useless in reality?
Of course it's useful, but in the realm of material science and high technology. For example, MRI machines in hospitals use super-strong magnetic fields generated by superconductors at ultra-low temperatures, which relies on countless electron pairs entering states of quantum superposition and entanglement. And superfluids, near absolute zero. Liquids lose all viscosity and will literally climb up and out of a cup on their own. These are the actual quantum miracles. As for those $80 energy clips sold on TV, claiming to realign paperclip atoms via quantum entanglement for health benefits, I can only say, whoever buys that must also have quantum entanglement in their head, otherwise known as brain tangles. Infinitely many parallel universes, a ruthless roast of Marvel movies and the quantum realm.
Speaking of sci-fi, we have to talk about Marvel movies. From Ant-Man to Avengers: Endgame. They rely on the quantum realm for time travel and even create countless parallel universes. Do parallel universes actually exist in physics?
Marvel screenwriters probably shredded real quantum physics papers and randomly taped them together to write the script. Even Paul Rudd himself roasts this in the movie. Do you guys just put quantum in front of everything to sound cool? Exactly. That is precisely what they do. In physics, the concept of parallel universes does exist in one interpretation of quantum mechanics, the many-worlds interpretation proposed by Hugh Everett III. Many-worlds interpretation.
How does this many-worlds interpretation explain that poor Schrödinger's cat?
In this theory, the wave function collapse never actually happens. The moment you open the box, the universe splits. In universe A, you see a live cat. In universe B, you see a dead cat. These two universes evolve in parallel, never interacting. Sounds cool, right? But this is merely a mathematical interpretation. It makes the exact same experimental predictions as the classical Copenhagen interpretation, which means it is completely untestable.
Did Everett himself believe this theory?
He believed it passionately, even subscribing to quantum immortality. He believed that no matter how many times you play quantum Russian roulette, there will always be a branch of the universe where you survive. So, subjectively, you can never die. But in reality, this philosophical speculation led to absolute tragedy. Everett died young due to an unhealthy lifestyle, and his daughter later committed suicide, leaving a note saying she hoped to reunite with her father in another parallel universe. It's truly heartbreaking. When quantum physics gets over-philosophized, it often morphs into a lethal superstition.
So logically, in reality, we can't go borrowing infinity stones from parallel universes like in Endgame?
Of course not. If anyone online tries to teach you
how to use quantum meditation to contact a version of yourself in a rich parallel universe, you should call the police immediately. The many worlds in physics is just an elegant mathematical tool. For ordinary people like us, the best philosophy of life is everyday pragmatism. Forget parallel universes. Even though my GPS map is physically an imperfect 2D projection, it gets me perfectly to the nearest beer store, and that is the only reality that matters to me. Quantum technology and quantum computing. stop saying a qubit is 0 and 1 at the same time. Alright, now we've finally arrived at the most overhyped future tech, quantum computers. Everyone claims that once quantum computers go mainstream, they will crack all passwords in an instant. And even simulate the universe. Some even say our brain cells are actually a quantum computer. Is that also bullshit?
That is steaming, hot, fresh out of the oven quantum bullshit. First of all, quantum computers are physically possible. And the smartest minds in the world with tens of billions of dollars in funding are researching them. But the public hype around it is full of sci-fi-level misunderstandings. The most common bad science communication is classical computer bits are either 0 or 1. While quantum computer qubits can be both 0 and 1 at the same time.
Is it not? That's how tons of tech magazines write it.
That is the crudest, most misleading analogy imaginable. Logically, 0 and 1 are mutually exclusive labels. Saying something is both 0 and 1 at the same time is like saying a statement is both true and false simultaneously. That's not science. That is logically incoherent bullshit. In reality, a qubit is a two-level quantum system, like the spin of an electron. Its state is a complex linear superposition of the two base states, 0 and 1. This is represented as a point on a sphere, the Bloch sphere, which has an infinite number of continuous phase states, rather than a simplistic both 0 and 1.
So how do quantum computers calculate so fast? Is it like the rumors say, trying all possible answers simultaneously?
That is another monumental lie. If a quantum computer just tried all answers at once, how would that be any different from a classical computer's brute force? The real power of quantum computing comes from utilizing the interference property of quantum superpositions. Through elegant quantum algorithms, like Schia's algorithm or Grover's algorithm. It makes the wave amplitude of the correct answer undergo constructive interference to amplify it, while causing incorrect answers to undergo destructive interference and cancel each other out. It's an incredibly complex game of mathematical control, like creating waves in a pool with perfect precision, making them crash together to create the highest splash at a specific spot. This requires an extremely sterile, noise-free environment. Right now, it can only run on superconducting chips close to absolute zero.
So, our brain cells couldn't possibly be a quantum computer?
No shit. The brain is a warm, wet environment at 37 degrees Celsius, constantly undergoing chemical reactions. Any quantum superposition would collapse into decoherence in less than a trillionth of a second here. If your brain were a quantum computer, a single cup of hot water would crash your entire system. As for the sci-fi-level quantum teleportation of human bodies, in physics, it's called quantum teleportation. And it only transmits the quantum state information of particles, not the actual physical matter. You can't just pat your butt and teleport instantly from a pod onto the Starship Enterprise. To get there, you still have to take a spaceship like everyone else. The real quantum guide to life, living in the classical world with your agency.
After listening to the professor trash 7 chapters of quantum bullshit today, I feel like my IQ has been purified like never before. It turns out all those quantum-branded products are just con artists capitalizing on our scientific ignorance to fleece us.
Exactly. You must learn to distinguish dog shit from horse manure. Dog shit is intentional deception. The scammers don't care about truth, they only want your cash. Horse manure, on the other hand, is just misunderstanding born of pure ignorance. Like when your grandpa sees a rumor on Facebook and tells you 5G signals interfere with your quantum field. That is just ignorant horse manure, no malice intended.
That makes perfect sense. Faced with these omnipresent rumors and scams, how can we protect ourselves?
Just keep in mind these razors that physicists love to use. The first is Occam's razor: do not multiply entities beyond necessity. Simple explanations are always better than convoluted conspiracy theories. The second is Hanlon's razor: never attribute to malice that which is adequately explained by stupidity. The third is Hitchens's razor: What can be asserted without evidence can also be dismissed without evidence. If a con artist cannot produce reports from rigorous clinical double-blind trials, yet claims his crystal water contains quantum energy, you don't need to waste energy proving him wrong. You just need to say one thing to him: get lost, that's bullshit, and walk away.
What can be asserted without evidence can be dismissed without evidence. That is incredibly satisfying. But does quantum mechanics really have no positive inspiration for our lives?
Actually, it does, but absolutely not the passive manifestation the gurus preach. The core of quantum mechanics tells us this world is inherently random and uncertain. And every single one of your active choices and observations is tangibly changing the state of the system. Philosophically, this gives us one vital thing: agency, which is the power of choice. The world is not a fixed, cold classical clockwork mechanism. Every decision you make, every action you take, is observing and shaping this probabilistic quantum field.
That is a brilliant conclusion. Don't count on buying some expensive quantum energy card to change your destiny. Your real destiny lies in every single active step you take. If you enjoyed today's video, please don't forget to subscribe to the Black Dog Reader channel. Turn on the notification bell, like and share it with your friends, so you never miss out on more fantastic books. Thank you so much, Professor, for sharing such an exciting and satisfying talk with us today. Thank you everyone for watching Black Dog Reader today. We'll see you next time.
Thank you everyone, and go delete those quantum crystals from your shopping cart right now.
Goodbye everyone.